All right, for this tutorial, I wanted to talk about interpolation in Grease Pencil. So you've probably encountered interpolation before in terms of objects. So if I add an object, I'll just add a cube. And if I go to my regular timeline, I can add keyframes. And if I go over here, move the cube, now I've got two keyframes, and the computer will figure out what to do in between. That's interpolation. That's taking the start point and the end point and figuring out what's happening in between. And that's super common with the whole object. But what if we want to do interpolation within a drawing? Let's think about why we would want to do that. Because if I just want to take an object and do some, I'll go back to my dope sheet so that I can see my drawing keyframes. If I want to do some big motions like this, where the whole thing is moving around, then I don't really need interpolation because the motion is fairly simple to draw just frame by frame. So if I were to play this back, it would probably look pretty smooth. But the problem comes in when you try to do small, subtle movements. So let's say I've got that oval, and instead of doing big movements, I want to just have it rotate down ever so slightly. You can see I'm having trouble tracing that. Let me try that again. And I could adjust this to make it a little bit better. But that small, subtle movement. You can see how we start to get a little bit of a wobbly effect. So the motion is still there, but once it gets subtle like this, you can kind of see the lines wiggling around just because it's so difficult to draw exactly the same thing every frame. So it would be a lot nicer if we could, for those small subtle movements where not much is changing, draw fewer frames and let the computer figure out what to do in between. So let's say I'm going to take away these in-between frames. So select those, delete them. So now I've just got this starting frame and this ending frame. And let me actually move that all the way out over here so that we can really see what's going on. So I'm going to go into edit mode and select my stroke. Whoops. And go to this frame and select my stroke there too. So I've got the stroke selected in both places, and we want that initial stroke to smoothly transition into the final stroke. I could use this tool. This is the interpolate tool, and that'll just let you get to kind of a position in between. But I want to interpolate the whole sequence. So I'm going to go back to draw mode, and I'm going to go to is this interpolate? No, that's onion skin. I'm going to go trying to remember where this is. Is it in edit mode? Yes, here it is. So in edit mode, under grease pencil, we need to interpolate the sequence. And we've got some options for that over here. So we can change whether we want it to go straight there or whether we want to kind of ease in and ease out. So I'm going to change it to quadratic easing. And you can see how that has filled in frames in between that starting point and that ending point. And now, when we go through, it starts at the starting point and eases through very smoothly to the end. So that's nice. And with a single stroke like this, it's very easy. You can just select the initial stroke, select the final stroke, and just make sure that that's what it's using. So if I were to undo that, if I had multiple strokes in here, I would just need to make sure that only selected is turned on. So it's only interpolating the selected stroke. But let's say instead of just a single stroke, we want to interpolate multiple strokes. And that's usually what the case is. So I'm going to leave that on that layer, make a new layer. So let's say that while that is doing its thing, we want a little smiley face character to go from sitting right there, looking that way, and being happy, to, if I come over, how about to frame 30, I want that character to be over here, looking this way, and looking a little bit sad. I'll make that mouth better. So now we've got 4 strokes, right? We've got the circle on the outside, we've got the 2 eyes, and the mouth. So the key to interpolating like this, where we've got 2 totally separate drawings with multiple strokes, is we need to draw the strokes in the same order so that it knows exactly which stroke needs to become which stroke of the other one. So let me go back through. I'll actually do another layer just so that I can trace over this. And I'll turn on smoothing. So let's say we want to do the outline first. I'll turn the strength up. So we've got the outline. And then we'll do the left eye from our perspective, the right eye, and I'll do the mouth. And why don't we add in some teeth there just to give it a little bit more personality. Okay, so we've got outside circle, left eye, right eye, mouth, teeth. Okay, so then if we come over to this frame, I need to do that in the exact same order. So outline, I'll change the shape just slightly. Left eye, right eye, mouth, teeth. So we've got our strokes for that frame and for that frame. So now if we go to this frame and I'll go to edit mode, select all my strokes, select all my strokes, go here, select all my strokes.
Did you have a good lunch? Okay, where's your computer? Okay, so
This one.
do you know where she signed in at?
I think she signed in at this one yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it was this one. Do I need to get her signed in and stuff though?
Well, that's what I don't know. I think go ahead and sign in as you.
Okay.
I think that what happened. So what I want to do next time is I want to show you how to set up a project, which we're going to take next week. We're not going to do any projects next week, except for one group one, and we're going to reteach you guys some stuff.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on that's issues. So we're going to reteach, and there's an SD card in there. So when you log in, you eject it. Okay. So we're going to do some reteaching. One of the things you need to know is how to set up your project and where. So I want to make sure you have that down.
Okay.
Just because no one could find it, it was like gone. So we looked everywhere.
I did do it on this computer.
Yeah, we just couldn't. Maybe when you sign in, maybe it'll pop up. But she did redo it for you. So okay, so sign into the server. So just hit Command K.
Yeah.
And then also eject this. Just right click on it if you can, or just drag it into the trash. Either way. Right here. Yeah, it turns into an eject button when you throw it away because it knows you really don't want to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
And then get sent in there. And then, do you know where you saved your project?
Yeah, I saved it. I just did the Command S and then